talk about what we're going to be doing during clinical practice. Can you briefly tell me about the lessons that you're going to be teaching around the first week?
I'm going to have you start with English.
Okay.
And so your first week, you will be teaching on compare and contrast and articles and adjectives.
Okay.
So those will be all yours.
Now, with the comparing and contrasting, is that like you're reading stories and comparing and contrasting?
You can actually take it any way you want to.
Okay.
This is with our Common Core standards. Everything ends up repeating itself more than once. So far this year, we've done this. This will be the last time we do this. We've done it so far this year with stories, and we have done it with, we did it with, nonfiction texts.
Okay.
So, trying to work in fiction and nonfiction, and we used a Venn diagram when we did it before.
Okay.
So if you want to do that.
Okay. Okay. Then for the articles, you said articles and adjectives.
Adjectives and articles,
Okay.
yeah.
What classroom expectations and routines have you already put in place?
They, after their lunch count is done, they have a seat and they take out a book and start reading.
Okay.
And there's no wandering around the classroom doing anything other than that. Usually by 5 after 8, everyone should be sitting down, reading.
Okay.
It should be silent. I have quiet music on. Sometimes with weather it's different. But by 5 after, that's when they should be doing that. If ever they need to have a tissue, grab a tissue, use the restroom, have a drink, get a sharp pencil, or have a question, I have hand signals in the corner of the classroom.
Okay.
So you'll take me a little bit to each, but 1 is a tissue, 2 is restroom, 3 is drink, a fist is pencil, a normal hand raise is a question.
Okay.
So they're pretty familiar with that. So non-verbal signals are really helpful, and they actually love them. Other classroom routines, we have behavior chart.
Okay.
That's kind of part of a classroom routine. But it's just the 4 questions. I'm not sure if you've used this before, but so if someone's whispering to their neighbor, you ask them, "What are you doing?" And then they're "I'm talking to my neighbor. Is that what you're supposed to be doing, or what are you supposed to be doing?"
Okay.
They just say listening. So please tell me what you're going to do next. And then they'll say, "I'm going to listen." And then what will happen if you choose not to do that? And the consequence, is to move their clips. So they're all on numbers up here. So they start on ready to learn. Then think about it as kind of like a mental timeout. And then reflection time, and then mental contact.
Okay.
So we've not gone beyond thinking on it. They're most of the time they're very conscious of.
Okay.
But yeah, the 4 questions are great. I have them on posters somewhere. If you'd like, I can print them.
Oh yeah.
And hang them somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I used to have them in routines. We're very pretty much routine based.
Okay. No, that's good.
Classroom.
No, I like that.
I have the schedule is up on the board just because I like to see it, and it's very rare that I deviate from it.
Okay.
And they are all very used to it, and so if anything is ever different during the day, we do good things in the morning at 8:30.
Okay.
So right before we do good things, I will tell them, okay, today's a normal day, or if it's not, I'll say, instead of social studies today, we've got someone coming in from John Bolton Zoo. So just always tell them. I always say
them.
I do. I mean, they can roll with the punches, but they're very used to routine. I think that's all the routines that I can think of right now. I'm sure more will come up.
So that's pretty much your morning routine. Is they come in and read until 8:30, and then you do good things.
Yep.
And then that's your.
It's about good. It's 45 minutes in the morning, but it's really.
Yeah.
But it's their time to read on their own.
Yep.
That's
too about your routines as far as the way that you do reading. Do you do reading groups in the afternoon or anything like that?
Reading groups, I do reading workshop, which is kind of like a daily vibe, but it's not perfectly daily vibe because I combine some things from my previous teaching experience with daily vibe.
Okay.
Reading groups, I don't do reading groups like every week.
Okay.
Every month we take a week out of a reading workshop, and then they do reading groups.
Okay.
So that's what we're on right now.
Okay.
And we will be next week when you come in and observe. So
Okay.
you'll get to see reading groups, but then the following week will be reading workshop.
Okay. So you just do reading groups like once a month, and
Yep.
then the rest is daily 5-ish.
Yeah, it's you can see on the chart back there. They're all split into groups. Those are their numbers.
Okay.
So one is free choice, one's listening to reading,
Okay.
and but then they have like word work on writing.
Okay.
But one's with me, and then word sort is, I can't think of what it's called. You know, the word sort.
Yeah.
I can't think of what the company is called, but that's what word sort is.
And then they have classroom jobs. Okay.
Yep. Every Monday
Okay.
I switch them.
Okay. And then can you talk to me a little bit about learning standards, units, and objectives that will be covered when I'm taking over part of the class?
Yep. So English is going to be Common Core, and I've taken all the standards and spread them out throughout the year on the calendar, and everyone gets hit twice, and some get hit 3 times. For math, starting next week when you're observing, we will be finishing up multiplication, and then we'll move on to some algebra with it. So like missing factors and like finding the rule, multiplying by 3 factors, multiplication properties. We're obviously 3rd grade is a huge multiplication unit here, and then we move from there to division.
Okay.
So the majority of what you're doing is going to be multiplication, division, fact families.
That's for
Division fact families.
Okay.
That's going to be the majority of what you're going to be doing. I don't think you'll get as far as geometry. I don't think you'll be here for geometry.
Okay.
But if you do, it's great.
And then as far as like your math lessons, do you kind of make up your own stuff? Like if you find like projects that you like, or do you stick pretty closely to what the book does?
I stick close to the book during math time. I do math workshop 4 times a week. So that puts them in. They're put into 4 differentiated groups. One group does math facts.
Okay.
So like flashcards, they can do skip counting on their whiteboard, they can quiz each other. Another group does math journals. It has a question like, I don't know, they tell me the difference between 5,021 and 2,521.
Okay.
Or something like that. Or pretend you have no currency, how would you get what you wanted in the world? And then the other one is there's spiral review in the back of their math workbook. And it's just a review over topics we've done earlier in the year in 2nd grade topics. And then the 4th group is with me, and we are doing what I call like holes in the textbook, like things that the textbook doesn't necessarily cover that I think they need to know.
Okay.
Or something like a fun project, or man, we did time, we still struggle with time. We're going to spend a couple weeks on that.
Okay.
So we'll all do every group. It's about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
And we just do 1 rotation every day.
Okay. Cool. And then, are there any other standards or?
For studies, we're continuing in Michigan history, and you won't do this right away because we switched 2 weeks social studies, 2 weeks science. But when you come in for social studies for Michigan history, it's going to be part of the French and Indian War, and then I'm going to do the proclamation line, and then part of the American Revolution. So it's like it's the fun stuff in history or social studies. And in science, next week we're going to finish up a unit on plants, and then the following week we're doing like a fun breakout unit from the Michigan Soybean Foundation, and they give you all sorts of activities and worksheets and experiments. It's just kind of, this is the second year I've done it. It's a fun thing to do to, get them ready for spring and kind of learn something fun for a week. Bible. The week you start, we are starting with Joseph. Oh, which is a great one to start on. And it breaks it down really nicely. But his dreams, being sold into slavery, I mean, it lays out really nicely.
All for that, and then just briefly looking at the clinical rubric that they use to grade. So we'll be looking at one standard every week.
Okay.
And I guess that's something you can kind of keep an eye out for too when you're observing. And we can briefly discuss that kind of stuff when we come back and discuss the week.